Welcome to a space where your reality begins to shift. Join Neville Manifestation and step into the power of becoming the version of you that already has it all. What if the only thing standing between you and everything you desire is not time, not circumstances, but the way you're holding on to it? What if the moment you stop chasing, stop forcing, and stop needing is the exact moment it begins to arrive? Most people spend their lives trying to control the outcome, never realizing that true power begins where control ends. Tonight, you're about to understand why letting go isn't losing. It's the moment everything finally falls into place. Good evening, my friends. Tonight, I want to clear up one of the biggest misunderstandings in manifestation, the idea of letting go. This is where so many sincere people get stuck. I'm going to show you how to release your desire without abandoning it. At first, it sounds like the same thing, but it's not. That difference is everything. It's the line between struggling endlessly and allowing things to unfold naturally in your life. When people hear let go, they assume it means stop wanting. When they hear detach, they think it means stop caring. When they hear surrender, they think it means give up. And because of that misunderstanding, they resist it completely. They've invested too much time, too much belief, too much hope to just walk away. And they're right, giving up is not the answer. But here's the truth, surrender is not giving up. Detachment is not indifference. Letting go does not mean abandoning your desire. Once you truly understand this, everything changes. Manifestation stops feeling like something you chase and instead becomes something that naturally comes to you. Let's first look at what it means to hold on too tightly, because most people don't even realize they're doing it. You want something deeply, so your mind clings to it all day. You wake up and immediately think about it. You start checking your reality. Has it happened yet? Is there any sign? You analyze every small detail, every interaction, every shift, trying to figure out if you're getting closer or farther away. When something looks promising, you feel a temporary high. When something doesn't go your way, fear creeps in. You begin questioning everything. Am I doing it right? Should I try harder? Should I do something differently? Your desire starts to feel heavy. Instead of something you know is yours, it becomes something fragile, something that needs constant attention and reassurance. This is what holding on too tightly looks like. And here's why it doesn't work. That kind of attachment comes from a place of lack. It carries the feeling of not having what you want. And manifestation doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your state. So when your state is, I don't have it yet, that's exactly what continues to show up. Think about holding sand in your hand. If you squeeze it tightly, it slips through your fingers. The harder you try to hold it, the more you lose it. But if you relax your hand, the sand stays. Nothing changed except your grip. That's the paradox. The tighter you cling, the more you push it away. But when you truly let go, not by giving up, but by relaxing your hold, you allow it to come to you. Now let's be clear about what giving up actually means. Giving up is when you go back to believing it's not possible. It's when you accept that you won't have what you want. It's a quiet decision that says, I tried, but it's not for me. That's not what we're doing here. Giving up is stepping out of the process entirely and settling back into lack. That's not the solution. What we're talking about is something very different. It's about releasing the tension while still holding the belief. It's letting go of the pressure without letting go of the outcome. It's continuing to live in the feeling that your desire is already fulfilled, but without obsessing over it or trying to force it into existence. There are two main things you need to release, the how and the when. First, the how. When people hold on too tightly, they don't just imagine the end, they try to control the path to get there. They decide exactly how things should happen. The money has to come from this source. The person has to act in a certain way. The opportunity has to appear in a specific form. Without realizing it, they limit something that is actually unlimited. They try to force infinite possibilities into a narrow path. Letting go of the how means trusting that you already have your desire in consciousness, even if you don't know how it will show up physically. You don't need to figure it out. That's not your job. Your role is to stay aligned with the feeling of already having it. This isn't passive, it's a deep level of trust. It's choosing to remain steady without needing to control the process. The second thing is the when. This is where most people struggle the most. They keep track of time. It's been weeks, months, maybe even years. They keep asking, when is it going to happen? But every time you focus on when, you reinforce the feeling that it hasn't happened yet. And that feeling keeps recreating the same delay. Letting go of the when means accepting that in your inner world, it's already done. You already have it. The physical world will reflect that at the right moment. You don't need to chase time or measure progress. Your only responsibility is to stay in the state of fulfillment. When you release both the how and the when, something shifts. You stop forcing, you stop checking, you stop doubting, and instead, you begin to live quietly in the certainty that what you want is already yours. That's real detachment, not cold or careless, but calm and confident. It's the kind of knowing that doesn't need constant proof. And that's where manifestation becomes effortless. Not because you stopped wanting, but because you stopped needing it to prove something to you. You no longer chase it, you allow it. You don't need to know when it will happen because in truth, it is already complete. That kind of patience isn't about forcing yourself to wait or pretending to be calm while you're actually tense inside. It's a quiet, grounded patience that comes from real trust. It's the kind of stillness that comes when you know something is already yours, even if you haven't seen it yet. Now there's something even deeper you must release. And this is the part that changes everything, the need. When you feel like you need your desire in order to feel whole, you've unknowingly placed your happiness outside of yourself. You're saying, I can't feel complete until this shows up, or I can't feel at peace until my outer world proves it. And that feeling of needing is actually the strongest signal of not having. It keeps reinforcing the idea that what you want is still missing. Letting go of that need means something very powerful. It means you already feel fulfilled within yourself, because in your consciousness, it already exists. Yes, the physical version will be wonderful when it appears, but you are no longer depending on it to feel complete. It becomes something extra, not something required. This is true detachment, not turning away from your desire, but no longer depending on the physical world to confirm it before you allow yourself to feel it. When you release the how, the when, and the need, you enter a completely different state. It's not anxious, it's not restless, and it's not filled with doubt. It's a calm certainty, you just know. The same way you know your own name, you don't question it, you don't check it, you don't try to believe it. It simply is. And along with that certainty comes peace. You're no longer constantly thinking about it or watching for signs. You're just settled in the understanding that it's already done. This is where manifestation becomes effortless. Not because there's some trick involved, but because you are finally aligned with the state of someone who already has what they want. And consciousness always reflects the state you truly live in, not the one you occasionally try to feel. Now let's bring this into something practical, how you actually step into this and stay there. First, you must clearly establish your assumption. You need to be sure about what you're holding on to. You are not letting go of your desire. You are not letting go of the belief that it's yours. What you are releasing is the tension, the constant checking, the pressure you've been putting on it. So begin by settling into the feeling that it's already done. Not something you're trying to make happen, but something you already have in your inner world. Let that feeling become natural. Let it feel like a foundation, not something distant you're trying to reach. Second, remind yourself that the creation is already complete. In consciousness, your desire already exists. There's nothing left for you to force into being. You're not holding on to a possibility, you're resting in something real. Once you truly understand that, the urge to control everything starts to fade. Third, release the timeline completely. Tell yourself and mean it, I don't need to know when this will show up. Feel the relief in that. Stop counting days, stop measuring progress, stop returning to that exhausting question of when. Time is not your responsibility. Your only responsibility is the state you live in. Stay there and let everything else unfold naturally. Fourth, let go of trying to figure out how it will happen. You don't need to map it out. You don't need to predict the path. There are ways for things to come together that you couldn't even imagine right now. Trust that something far greater than your limited planning is arranging everything behind the scenes. Release your need to control the process and allow it to surprise you. Finally, find your fulfillment in the state itself. This is the key to everything. Don't wait for the physical result to feel satisfied. Feel it now. Feel the peace, the joy, the completeness of already having it. Let that be enough. When you can truly rest in that feeling, without needing anything outside to validate it, you've reached the state where manifestation flows naturally. And from there, everything changes. Not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped resisting it. When you can feel rich inside your own awareness and actually be satisfied in that feeling before any money shows up, That's when you've truly released the need. When you can feel deeply loved within yourself and feel whole in that experience before anyone appears in your life, that's when the grasping disappears. When the physical result finally comes, it won't feel like something saving you. It will feel like confirmation of something you already knew was yours. A very simple way to know if you really let go is to look at how you move through your day. Can you go hours without checking for signs? Can you focus on your work, enjoy conversations, laugh, relax, and take part in your life without your mind constantly pulling you back to your desire? Most people don't realize it, but when you keep returning to it over and over again with tension, it's like touching a sore spot just to see if it still hurts. Letting go means you return to living. You're not waiting, you're not watching, you're actually living your life. And this way of living is powerful because it's exactly how someone behaves who already has what they want. They are not desperate for it, not chasing it, not constantly thinking about it. They simply live from a place of already having it within. This pattern, first assuming, then resting, is something that's been described for a very long time. Think of it like planting a seed. The moment you truly accept your desire as real within, that's the planting. After that, your role changes. You don't keep digging up the seed every day to check if it's growing. You trust that it is. You take care of yourself, you continue your life, and you allow the process to unfold naturally. If a farmer kept digging up the soil every morning to check the seed, the crop would never grow. Not because the seed was wrong, but because the interference prevents the process from completing. In the same way, once you've assumed your desire, your work is done. What follows is trust. What follows is rest. That rest is not laziness. It's the quiet knowing that everything is already in motion. Now, it's important to understand something clearly, because this is where many people get confused again. Letting go is not the same as becoming indifferent. Indifference means you stop caring. The desire loses its meaning, and when you think about it, you feel nothing. No excitement, no connection, no warmth. That's not detachment, that's giving up in disguise. Real detachment feels completely different. The desire is still alive inside you. It feels real, it feels meaningful, but you are no longer depending on the physical world to validate it. You already feel satisfied because in your inner world, it already exists. When it shows up physically, it will be beautiful, but it won't be the thing that completes you because you're already complete. There's a simple way to check where you are. Think about your desire right now. If it feels empty or distant, then you may have drifted into indifference. But if it feels calm, certain, and quietly real, like something you already possess, then you're in the right state. That's what it feels like to let go without giving up. I once worked with someone who had to learn this lesson the hard way. She wanted a relationship with a specific person, and she did everything she thought was right. She visualized regularly, stayed consistent, and truly believed in what she was doing. But underneath all of that, there was anxiety. She kept checking his social media, reading into every small detail, looking for signs that something was happening. Her entire focus became centered on watching and waiting. Time passed and nothing changed. She became frustrated and exhausted. She asked me why it wasn't working when she was doing everything correctly. I told her honestly, "You're doing the assumption part well, but you're undoing it with everything that comes after. Every time you check, every time you worry, you're reinforcing the idea that it hasn't happened yet." She asked the question most people ask: if I stop checking and thinking about it, won't that mean I'm giving up? The answer was simple: no. Letting go doesn't mean you stop believing. It means you stop gripping so tightly. You can stop checking and still know you are loved. You can stop analyzing everything and still remain in the state of already having what you want. Release the need to control how and when it happens, but keep your focus on the fact that it is already yours. She went home with a new understanding and made one clear decision. She chose to live as someone who is already in a loving relationship, not forcing it, not pretending, but quietly accepting it within herself. And from that point, everything began to shift. Here's your fully rewritten and natural version, keeping the meaning and depth intact while making it sound original and fluid. She reached a point where something shifted inside her. Instead of constantly wondering when things would change or how it would all come together, she let that go. She settled into a quiet certainty, not forced, not something she had to convince herself of, but something that felt real. She stopped checking her phone, stopped replaying conversations, stopped trying to figure everything out. And she didn't do this because she lost hope. She did it because she no longer felt the need to hope. She knew. Her attention returned to her own life. She spent time with friends, focused on her work, and allowed herself to actually enjoy her days again. There was no more waiting energy behind her actions. When you truly feel that something is already yours, you don't keep checking for it. You don't search for proof. You move through life normally. And then, without her trying to force anything, things began to move. Within a couple of weeks, he reached out. The relationship unfolded in a way she couldn't have planned or predicted. It came together naturally. The reason it happened this way is simple. She moved out of the feeling of not having, which is where desperation always lives, and into the feeling of already having. When she stopped gripping so tightly, everything that felt out of reach finally had space to come to her. There's a simple rhythm you can follow to practice this. In the morning, before your day fully begins, come back to your assumption. Wake up and remind yourself, calmly and clearly, that what you desire is already yours. Not as wishful thinking, but as something real within you. Let that feeling be the first thing you settle into. As you go through your day, live your life. Be present in what you're doing. Work, talk to people, enjoy small moments. And yes, your mind will naturally drift back to your desire sometimes. When it does, don't panic or overthink it. Just gently remind yourself, it's already done. Then return to whatever you were doing. No force, no struggle, just a quiet return. At night, before you sleep, consciously let go. Release any tension that built up during the day. Tell yourself that you don't need to figure anything out. You don't need to see proof right now. Let go of the timing. Let go of the pressure. Feel the relief in that. Then fall asleep in a calm, settled state as someone who already has what they want. This simple pattern, morning certainty, living your day fully, and evening release, gradually trains your mind. Over time, letting go stops feeling like something you have to try to do. It becomes natural because your certainty becomes stronger than your need to control. There's an important truth here. The moment you can genuinely let go is the moment you no longer feel the need to hold on so tightly. When your belief becomes steady and grounded, letting go happens on its own. It's not something you force. It's the natural result of truly knowing. Think about something you already have, like your own hands. You don't keep checking to make sure they're still there. You don't feel anxious about losing them. You just know they're yours. That same kind of ease is what this state feels like. When your desire feels that natural and obvious, you've reached a different level of understanding. And you'll know when you're there. You won't feel the urge to check constantly. Time will pass, sometimes hours or even a full day, without you obsessing over it. And when it does cross your mind, it won't come with anxiety. It will feel calm, almost neutral, like a simple acknowledgement. You'll find yourself more present in your actual life. Instead of mentally waiting for something to happen, you'll be engaged in what's in front of you. Conversations, work, daily routines, these things will feel real again. Even when something shows up that seems to contradict what you want, it won't shake you. You'll recognize it as something temporary, just an old reflection of past thinking. And instead of reacting, you'll stay steady in your new state, trusting that things are shifting. You'll also notice that you feel more complete now, not later. You won't feel like your happiness depends on something arriving. You'll already feel settled within yourself. And when the physical result shows up, it will feel like a bonus, not something you needed to fix you. You'll stop trying to control every detail. The need to figure out how it will happen fades. You trust that things are unfolding in ways you may not even be able to see yet. And with that trust comes a sense of peace that replaces the need to manage everything. Tonight, you can start with something simple. Before you fall asleep, settle into the feeling that your desire is already yours. Not as a wish, but as something real. Let it feel natural. Then gently release any need to control the process. Let go of timelines, expectations, and pressure. Tell yourself you don't need to see it happen immediately. Feel that sense of relief, like you're finally unclenching something you've been holding too tightly. Then fall asleep in that state. Not waiting, not hoping, but already at peace, like someone who has already arrived. When you wake up tomorrow, return to that same knowing. Then go on with your day. Be present, stay engaged, and trust the process without overthinking it. This is the balance. You stay firm in your belief, but relaxed in everything else. You keep the certainty, but release the tension. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting deeply. And that kind of trust, calm, steady, and unshaken, is one of the most powerful forces you can experience. When you can fully want something, truly believe it's yours, and at the same time stop gripping so tightly, everything begins to flow differently. You remain certain but at ease, focused but not tense. And when things finally show up, it won't feel shocking or unbelievable. It will feel natural, like something you already knew was going to happen all along. There's a deeper layer to this that most people miss, and it's the reason why some people feel like they're doing everything right but still don't see movement. It comes down to the difference between thinking you have something and being the version of you who already has it. A lot of people repeat affirmations, visualize, and try to stay positive. But underneath that, there's still a subtle tension. It feels like they're trying to make something happen. That effort, that slight strain, is actually coming from the identity of someone who doesn't have it yet. So even though the words sound right, the state behind them is still rooted in waiting. What really shifts things is identity, not technique. When you fully step into the version of yourself who already has what you want, your behavior naturally changes without you forcing it. You don't have to remind yourself not to check your phone. You just don't feel the urge as strongly. You don't have to fight negative thoughts. You simply don't agree with them anymore. It's subtle but powerful. Another important piece is how you relate to time. When you're in a state of lack, time feels slow. You notice every day that passes. You measure, you count, you wonder why it hasn't happened yet. But when you're in the state of having, time almost disappears from the equation. You're not waiting anymore, so there's nothing to track. That's why people often say things show up when you least expect it. It's not random. It's because in those moments, you're no longer focused on the absence of it. You've dropped the resistance. There's also something important about emotional neutrality that doesn't get talked about enough. People think they need to feel excited, ecstatic, or overly positive all the time. But that's not sustainable, and it's not even necessary. The state of having often feels calm, normal, even a bit ordinary. Think about things you already have. You don't feel intense excitement about them every second. You just feel stable. So if your desire starts to feel normal in your mind, that's actually a good sign. It means it's becoming part of your identity instead of something outside of you that you're chasing. You might also notice that as you stabilize in this state, certain things begin to fall away naturally. You may lose interest in overanalyzing, in seeking constant reassurance, or in talking about your desire all the time. Not because you're suppressing anything, but because it no longer feels necessary. There's a quiet confidence that replaces all of that noise. The real shift happens when you stop chasing and start trusting. When you hold your desire with certainty but release the pressure around it, you realize that you were never waiting for life to change. You were aligning with the version of yourself who already has it. Letting go isn't giving up. It's stepping into quiet confidence where doubt no longer lives. And from that place, everything unfolds naturally, not as a miracle, but as the inevitable result of what you already knew was yours.